And that's going to lead us into one of the biggest topics of the day and our featured story of the night. All right, everybody, it's time to get into our featured story. And we're going to take some time with this one because this was a big announcement we were talking about for weeks now. James Gunn finally came out and he's like, hey, it's time for Peter and I to tell our slate for the next 2 years of the DCU. Now, they announced 10 movies, or I should say 10 different projects. Not movies because it's a mix of HBO Max shows and theatrical releases. So we're going to go through them all, but I just want to first start off with what they said is happening, which we kind of know already. They're not changing these things. They're going to have Shazam come out, The Fury of the Gods, which we talked about, releasing on March 17th. They're going to have The Flash coming out, releasing on June 16th with Ezra Miller. There's some stuff I want to talk about that in 1 second. Also, Blue Beetle's coming out still. That's still happening, and they're saying these are all going to be canon. They're saying The Flash is actually going to reboot, and then they've been saying this before, the Flash movie will reboot everything, but James Gunn said it right from his mouth. That's going to start the big reboot. Blue Beetle's still going to be in there. That's coming out. And then also Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom will be coming out December 25th. So all these movies are still happening. They're still moving forward. James Gunn said that he freaking loves the Flash movie. And that's one of the things I want to talk about first because before we get into the whole slate, here's what James Gunn said about Ezra Miller and the Flash movie and how they feel about Ezra and his progress, or their progress, I should say, moving towards the DCU.
When the time is right, when they feel they are ready to have the discussion, we'll all figure out what the best way forward is, added the DC co-boss. But right now, they are completely focused on their recovery. And in our conversations with them over the last couple of months, it feels like they're making enormous progress.
Yeah, so with Ezra, it seems like they may have a chance to come back. And this may be just him shooting, smoke up people's asses. I don't know, or just being like, you don't want to say anything until a movie comes out, like we said before. But from what James Gunn is saying, Ezra might have a chance out of all these people. And we had Jason Momoa saying too, I'm Aquaman forever. So these people might come back, but the slate doesn't say it really. So let's get into the slate right now because that's the big thing of today. We're talking about the first couple movies here, or the first couple projects. The first one is called Creature Commandos. Now his whole lineup for this, James Gunn said it's the DCU Monsters and Gods, or Gods and Monsters, he said. The first project, Creature Commandos, is a 7-episode animated series written by James Gunn. It's already in production. It's got a modern take on the team of monsters that were assembled to fight Nazis. And the voice of the characters will also carry over into feature films because that's the whole thing he's saying. Is like he wants to make sure that these characters transfer over into the feature world too, which is great. If you're going to cast somebody to be a voiceover, use them in the movies if you can too, like make it all connect, which is what the problem with the DCU has been. They haven't connected at all like this. So he's like, we're going to connect that. We're going to make that happen. And on top of that, because we have a lot to talk about, so I'm going to say he's also saying that they're doing a Waller series, which is a spinoff starring Viola Davis, and it's written by Crystal Henry and Jeremy Carver, and this is going to follow her character from the Suicide Squad. They're going to bring in a lot of the Peacemaker characters in here too that will be working with them. So that's going to be happening, these are the first two that are series, which he said. Now the first one, the Commandos, I'm like, I don't really know. It's an animated show. It's going to be on HBO Max. Waller is also going to be on HBO Max, so we're starting off with 2 series for there. I'm kind of excited about the Waller one, but I'm also like, do we need Waller? Sabrina, what do you think? Do you think we need Waller? I mean, we were talking about this before, like, where's Peacemaker 2? Where's that, huh? Why Waller?
I mean, I don't know why Waller, and I was really excited for the second season of Peacemaker, so I'm kind of bummed. The thing is they listed I don't know, 10 projects for this 8 to 10 year slate, and not anywhere on that list is Peacemaker 2. And they said they were still doing it, but they were going to focus on Waller first, as an in-between, which, is fine. She is also in Peacemaker, very little, but she is basically the lead of the team that they all work for her. You know what I mean? And also, interestingly enough, the Creature Commandos she also is in control of them. It's a team that she assembled, the same, it's like a Suicide Squad basically situation, but instead they're fighting Nazis, I guess. But Amanda Waller is also the person who's assembling the team of all these, fucked up monster prisoner people. And I think that could be very interesting. So I think she will also be a voice in there.
She's fantastic.
Oh yeah, she's great. But like, and the thing is, Amanda Waller in the comics is completely different. Like we haven't really been able to get into her, even though she's played the character in 3 separate things. Both the Suicide Squad movies and Peacemaker. We haven't really gotten into her with that yellow jacket and all of her crazy. So like I think that the Waller series might explore that, and I think it would be fun. Like there's no one that's more skilled and talented as an actress. She could pull off anything. So I'm actually excited for the Waller series. I'm bummed that it's going to put Peacemaker on the back burner, but I believe that a lot of those characters are going to be in Waller, and then it will kind of be like Boba Fett was after Mandalorian in between the seasons. Like, even though it was Boba Fett, there still was a whole entire episode with Mando and like, other episodes that had him and the child in it, Luke Skywalker, all that. So I think it's going to kind of be that sort of a feel where it overlaps with Peacemaker.
And one of the saving graces here too is he's saying that this is just the first part of the first phase. So they might have Peacemaker on part 2, and maybe that'll come out, in a year they'll say something, So this might just be like, this is what we're starting with, and maybe Peacemaker will start in production.
This is very ambitious, if that's the case.
It's very ambitious. Jake, do either of these 2 projects perk your interest at all? The Commandos or the Waller series?
No.
Jake's like, no, keep going. He's like, keep going, bro. I don't see anything I like so far.
Your face is priceless, Jake.
Okay. All right. Well, let's just keep going then. Let's keep going, because maybe the next section, Jake will be like, this is great. So the big one that, James Gunn said already before is Superman Legacy.
Sorry, I was muted.
Superman. It worked out fine, Jake. It worked out fine.
Okay.
Do you have any? We'll get back to it. So Superman Legacy is happening. This is going to actually follow Superman working at the Daily Planet. It's actually going to be him being a news reporter. It's going to come out July 11th. This is one of the actual dates we actually got for a project, July 11, 2025. Gunn wrote it. Now they're saying that he might direct it, but also the rumor is that Ben Affleck might actually direct this too, which would be kind of cool, him directing a Superman movie. I don't know. They also said that there's also a show called Lanterns coming out. So just before I move on, Superman Legacy, of course, is a feature. So that's the first one that they announced. And then Lanterns is another TV show for HBO Max, a series about the Green Lantern. There's 2 different Green Lanterns. It's about Hal Jordan and John Stewart. And it's like I thought this was hilarious that they said that it's going to be like a cop show. Like they're going to be like intergalactic cops coming to Earth and like trying to solve problems on Earth. So it's going to take place on Earth, but it's really going to be a different kind of detective show, which is kind of one of those things like a True Detective, they said it was, which is one of those things that they try to do, like take an HBO Max show and make it into a DC show. And how can we mend this? What kind of genre we can find? Well, cop show. Okay, Lanterns is a cop show. And there's also The Authority coming, which is another movie based off a wild storm of superheroes. There's no Justice League. You have actual different Justice League that's doing whatever it takes, kind of like Peacemaker, to get everything solved and taken care of, which I'm not really sure about The Authority. Jake, so far, what do you think about this slate? Is there anything that perks your interest out of the, was that 5 projects I've said so far?
Mm-hmm.
There were a few, yeah.
What do you think? What do you think, Waller, or do you think the Commandos or Superman? What's standing out to you?
Well, Superman's the only one that I've ever really heard of, to be honest.
Yeah.
You're saying like Waller, Peacemaker, Intergalactic, Sherlock Holmes. I don't know. I'm gonna check it out because it sounds kind of cool.
And the Superman's cool because it's like him being a reporter, actually being Clark Kent. They haven't shown that in the movie since the Christopher Reeve days.
For sure, yeah. And if he's supposed to be reporting back what we're all doing down here, it's kind of would it be a take? Is it too far of a stretch to compare that to the Eternals, where they're like kind of like supposed to be influencing a little bit and making sure we don't screw stuff up, but then he's kind of like he could be an Eternal maybe.
I feel like the Authority. I don't want to draw any parallels to that shithole movie.
I feel like the Authority is more. She doesn't want to draw any parallels to that because she hated Eternals. I really didn't care for Eternals either. It was okay.
I haven't gotten through it yet. I've watched like 5 minutes at a time every day for the last 7 months. When did it come out? I don't even know. I keep trying.
November,
and I can
like
never
2 years ago. You know?
Was it? Yeah, I can't finish it.
Yeah. I think it was 2021 it came out. But this, GR is saying outside of Superman, it sounds lame. The Superman might be good. Of course, it's going to be a younger actor than when they've had with Henry Cavill. So it's going to be a younger actor, they said. So he's like in his late 20s. Gunn's writing it. It's actually going to be, working, which I think will be great. I think that'll be fun. They haven't announced any casting yet. This is just, announcing the series officially. And I kind of would like Ben Affleck to direct this. I think that could be good. It could be fun, if not Gunn, But Gunn, who knows? Ben Affleck?
What else has Ben Affleck directed? No.
Argo, fuck yourself. Jinx. Argo, Gone Girl. He won an Oscar for directing. Gone Girl. He also starred in, and then Argo, which he won the Oscar for, and it was a spectacular movie. Maybe 8 years ago, you think, something like that.
Yeah, it's been a while now, but he's been helming his own projects. Now he's got a project with Matt Damon. They got their own studio they opened that they're going to be bringing out more projects from too.
I did see something
will be directing.
About that. Yeah.
He also directed Manchester by the Sea, I believe, with Casey Affleck was in it. I think he's directed a lot. He's very, very talented director.
It's a great movie. Yeah, but I mean, this Creature Commandos, I'm not sure about. It's a cartoon. It might be kind of like.
I think it's gonna be great.
It could be cool. It could be good. I'm just not sure about Waller. As long as the Peacemaker people come in, I think it could be fun. And she's great. Like I said, it's kind of funny that she's kind of the connecting tissue to the old world of DCU, and she's still slipped through the cracks. But James Gunn made a whole statement about Black Adam and about Henry and about Aquaman too, where he said that this is only the first phase, and we're doing this Elseworld thing. And they might pop up in there. They're not fired. He said they're not fired, which he actually clarified that, being like, they're not fired. They just don't fit into this first phase. And they might come back again in this Elseworlds world, which we'll talk about more in our next. In our next stuff. But the next thing, I want to talk about the next few projects. The next 3 that he announced were Paradise Lost, which is an HBO Max series that's said to be a Game of Thrones style drama set in the world of Wonder Woman, and it takes place prior to Wonder Woman on the island where she grew up, where it's going to be about who ran the island, like the power struggle for who's in charge, and I guess it's going to be a cutthroat kind of drama. It kind of sounds interesting to me, like to go into that Westworld or that Game of Thrones world, and I could see it with Wonder Woman because it kind of has that feeling already, with the bow and the arrows and the like the medieval times almost. It feels like that could be cool. There's also The Brave and the Bold coming out, and this is their Batman movie coming out. And this new Batman movie is going to feature Damian Wayne, who is the son of Batman. So Bruce Wayne's son, who is going to be Robin, apparently he's been gone for 7 or 8 years. Bruce finds out he has a kid. He's like a samurai. He's cutting people's heads off and shit. He's apparently very brutal. That could be fun. I don't know. And then also the shocker, the Batman Part 2. Now, we've heard this back and forth that's happening, but this is going to be the Elseworlds thing. So they're saying there will be some projects like the Batman Part 2, which is moving forward. It's going to have an October 3rd, 2025 release date with Pattinson himself coming back. And also the Joker 2 with Joaquin Phoenix and Lady Gaga. That's going to be Elseworlds as well. So this is how he clarifies like what is what. It's like those are 2 projects that are still happening in this slate, but they're not going to fit into this whole world. Those are separate, which I think is kind of confusing still too, to let that happen. If you're going to announce a new Batman and you're also going to release the old Batman too, it's a little bit contradictory, which Jake, we've talked about this before. You were like, that's not a good idea, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. But I'm just saying, it looks pretty badass.
Well said.
Though, like when they talk about it, to me, it looks pretty badass.
Right.
Like you look at this, I got an image up right now. The image they released about, they got Robin with a samurai sword behind Batman, and Batman again could be an older Batman. Of course, he's lost Dick. He's lost Dick already. He's lost. That sounds bad when I say it like that.
I mean, it looks like
Dick Grayson. He's lost Dick. Dick
you gotta
Grayson.
take this down a peg because there's something
we're talking about
here.
puss yesterday. We're talking about Dick today. So we lost Dick. But this Robin is a badass. He kicks some ass. And it's also a family dynamic where it's like this is his actual son. And he's saying it's going to bring into the Batman family. We're going to have an actual family. We're going to get into Booster Gold too. I'm interested to see about that as well. But what do you think, Sabrina? Do you think this is a good Batman idea? And do you think they should be moving forward with Batman too, with Pattinson himself?
Yeah. I mean, it's just weird to me that they like on the timeline of things, they have like the Brave and the Bold, which is his Batman, and then right below that they have the Batman 2 with Robert Pattinson. Like it just seems very strange to me that you're going to be circulating two Batmans at the same fucking time. Like I'm guessing that the contract that they made with Matt Reeves is like that he had another movie and that they cannot take that off of the table, and they're also doing this Penguin thing, so they want to tie together that Elseworld. But I mean, it honestly does not make any sense to me that you're going to have both things going on at once. It's no secret that I wasn't a big fan of the Batman anyway, so I'm not really excited for that at all. This whole Damian Wayne Batman situation is something that hasn't been done before, and I think it could be really fucking fun and badass, and I'm here for it for sure. The Paradise Lost, which you seem jazzed about, seems like crap. I don't really know. The Lanterns also intergalactic Sherlock Holmes, as you said, Jake, which is hilarious.
About that.
I mean,
Right,
there's
Jake?
not been one successful Green Lantern movie, or like Green
It's
Lantern
time.
has been like the shit show of
Right.
everything. So I would really love if James Gunn could make it be something that's palatable.
I hope so too.
Right.
I'm down for it if he can do it, but it's a very big challenge.
They got to bring Finn in. Finn was originally attached. From American Horror Story. He was originally attached to be Green Lantern. I'm hoping they still keep him on because he's a fantastic actor. He's really great human being. So hopefully, putting it out there for you, Finn, that you still show up in that. Yeah, so I'm excited about that. I'm excited about the it could be good. I'm saying the whole Wonder Woman thing could be fun if it's done right, and it's James Gunn, so I'm thinking it will. The other three that they announced, because we're getting close to the end of our show, Booster Gold, which Lexi was talking about in the comments. Booster Gold is an HBO Max series. It's based off a lower tier superhero, and he actually is from the future, and he has all this tech, and he goes back in the past, and he becomes a superhero in the past because he has all this futuristic tech. So it's not like he actually has any powers. He just has futuristic technology. And then he gets sponsorships, and people love him. It's going to be a good comedy, I think, for HBO Max. Supergirl, The Woman of Tomorrow, this looks pretty cool too. It's actual Supergirl movie where she's been living on just a sliver, a rock of Krypton for years, just barely surviving, and she comes to Earth. So it's like one of those things where she had the worst life ever, and she's coming with this jadedness into the world that Superman's living with this ray of light. It could be very interesting. And then the last one is Swamp Thing. They're actually doing a movie based off Swamp Thing. And Swamp Thing, the last time we saw Swamp Thing was, of course, was on the CW show. But I actually like the CW show of Swamp Thing. I think it was done well. It just didn't have the following. It was on CW. How do you get anywhere with that? It was actually, they put a lot of money into it. I thought it did a great job. It started off in the DC Universe channel and moved over to CW, and maybe that's what it was killing it, because that network didn't go too well. They should use Brian as Booster Gold. I would take Booster Gold fucking tomorrow. Let's do that shit. Coming from the future, give me some tech. Does Booster Gold shrink? I'm just saying. I don't think he does. Jake, do any of these projects perk your interest?
I get it. Yes, because I have clients who need jobs, and the more creative they get, y'all are going to get paid to go to work either way. So I love the idea of expanding and doing all these things. But now when it comes to me actually watching them and being interested in it, man, not so much. Some of it.
Nothing huge. Batman, what's your favorite out of all this?
I think Batman, but I'm basing it on the originals and Batman Begins. And then from that point on, it kind of, for me, it just kind of fell off. So if they can recreate that, that level of, I don't know what the word is, that I lost. That's the second word I've lost today.
Oh no, it's there, Jake. It's there somewhere.
Yeah, I don't know, that first Batman Begins, I thought, that's one that sticks out just because I thought it was good.
Solid movie. And The Dark Knight.
Yeah.
Everyone loves The Dark Knight. You too.
Dark Knight was good. Yeah.
Even though people say they don't like it as much, The Dark Knight Rises holds a special place in my heart, as I've said before, because I worked on it. So every time I watch that movie, it brings back some great memories. What a fun movie to work on. and fun to see Batman in real life. That's all I'm saying. I saw Batman in real life, and he walked towards me with that cape flying in the wind, and I had the biggest shitty ass grin on my face. And
I
he
thought you
goes,
were gonna
"Pretty
say
cool,
hard
huh?"
on.
Pretty the biggest, thickest, huge smile on my face.
Yeah. Thickest. My
That
smile
throbbing
was so
smile on my
girthy.
face.
It's
And he said, "Pretty cool, huh, kid?" And I was like, "Pretty cool, huh, kid?" And I was like, "Fuck yeah." I'm just saying, I'm a
yeah.
big Batman fan. I'm a big Superman fan, so I'm really excited. And like Lexi said, Booster Gold I never really heard about, so I'm excited about this too, Lexi. Like James Gunn can do Booster Gold right, I think. It could be a lot of fun. It looks like they're leaning into the comedy here. Sabrina, is there like what's your favorite project on here? Is there something that stands out that you're like, that's solid gold, or is it like, I'm not really sure about this slate at all?
I'm most excited about the Creature Commandos and Waller because I'm super excited about the Peacemaker crew, and it's like I already know what James Gunn has done with a lot of those characters, and I think it's brilliant, and I love it. Also, the writers are the dude who created Doom Patrol and the chick who
Yeah.
did the Watchmen, so I think it's going to be really really good. Now, aside from that, I'm really jazzed about this Batman and Robin situation, the Brave and the Bold, because it's something new. It's different, and I think it's going to be dope. Like to have like this family aspect to it. And now, last but not least, Lexi, I didn't know shit about Booster Gold, if I'm being perfectly honest. And reading all your comments, now I'm jazzed about it. I'm into it. I
Yeah,
can't
me
wait for this
too.
Booster Gold. Jake, we need to get Brian in there.
Yeah. Come on, Jake. Booster Gold. I'm gonna put some I don't know if I put some muscle on. I don't know what the hell I gotta do, but let me know. I'll start eating some steak tomorrow. Let's make it happen.
I'll,
Good call,
I'll
Lexi.
start reading for it. Yeah.
The comedy
look it up.
is great too. But the comedy is great, and that's what he's going towards. I mean, there will be, of course, the Batman movie is not going to be. Then again, you see the Batman Battinson movie. Of course, that's a very dramatic. So I think this makes more sense that their slate's more comedy and making this Elseworlds, because already when you look at the Battinson movie compared to what they're going to release, it doesn't seem like it fits into this world at all, right? It just doesn't. So I understand where he's like, this is Elseworlds. This is not going to be continuation of any of our stuff. I'm interested to see now more than ever what happens with that Flash movie, especially because James Gunn said it's like one of the best superhero movies he's seen. That's huge. And I hope it is really good, and it does make this slate even better, and it leans into the comedy and reboots this in the great way. I'm excited about this slate. I really am. The Batman one the most. Superman. Even though Sabrina's like not sure about that Green Lantern one, I'm excited about that. Like you're talking about space cops and True Detective. The first season was fucking great. If you get into that world, it could be a lot of fun.
It's like that has failed so many times. Like I think if anyone could do it, it's him. But it's I'm a little leery. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. We already have that built into us because of how bad the Green Lantern's done it before in the past. Honestly, if you ask me, I really don't mind that Ryan Reynolds movie. I thought it was pretty good. I enjoyed it. It's a little cheesy. The special effects are really bad, but whatever.
Even Ryan Reynolds did not like that movie, just so you know.
He went back and watched it not too long ago for the very first time, and he was like drinking aviation gin the whole time. Total like, PR ad thing, which was fun. But you watch it, and then at the end, he's wearing he had the actual ring on, the actual prop from Green Lantern. It was a lot of fun, and he's like holding it up and shit. But at the end, he's like, not bad. It wasn't horrible, but just because of when it came out, and it just didn't live up to what they wanted it to be. And that's what it was, It's all right. There are worse superhero movies. Trust me.
Oh,
the
for
original
sure.
Captain America movie, the 80s version, go back and watch that. It has some fun stuff in it, but it's a little rough.
If you think about it, not related to the Green Lantern thing, but like the fact that you said with the whole that they're bringing in a more comedic approach to all of this, which is like what James Gunn is so good at. But if you look at Marvel, which is their biggest competitor, like look at Thor, the original Thor movies, which is all like serious and broody, and it did not do well. But then you look at like Thor Ragnarok, which did spectacularly, and he was like a totally different character. He was much more lighthearted, funny, cracking jokes. Like it was so much more successful. So like when they shifted from like the super serious shit to having it be more lighthearted and throwing in a little bit more comedy and charisma, it was wildly successful, And so I think it's smart for DC to be taking this turn as well.
Yeah. And I'm going to say one more thing before we get out of here, too. The Swamp Thing, Like, of course, it's weird. It's a weird choice. They are leaning into the monsters of DC, which they haven't done a lot before. They really haven't done that in the big DC universe. Of course, like I said, you had Swamp Thing on the CW, which if you go back and watch it, it's actually pretty good, I think, for a Swamp Thing interpretation. This making it a movie, maybe it's something where he's an established Swamp Thing to be a bigger villain, or maybe a hero at some point. I don't know. There's got to be some reasoning behind making a movie. I'm interested. I'm fascinated. Am I over the hill stoked about it? No, but I'm definitely it's perking my interest, I'll say, because I do like Swamp Thing. And the original Swamp Thing's fun. Even super camp, but it's fun, you know? I'm Swamp Thing. You know, he gets all these chemicals and falls into the swamp and becomes a creature. Like, whatever. Let's try it
What is
out.
this
Let's see.
camp thing that you say sometimes?
Super
Campy?
camp. That means it's campy. It means over the top, funny. Like,
Campy?
you know, it's not meant to be serious.
Oh,
Kind of like cheesy on the nose
Yeah,
type of.
yeah.
You
Think
know.
about you go to camp and you're just having a good time. Doop, doop, boop. It's all campy and cheesy. We're on the fire having a great time, you know?
gotcha. Heard.
Man Thing. It
Understand.
could lead to Man Thing versus Swamp Thing, Lexi. You're right. But yeah, Jake, that's what it is. It's camp. Total camp. So when you see something
Yeah.
that's camp, you know, like Bruce Campbell, like Evil Dead, total camp, you know? But it's fun. It's
I
hilarious,
got
you
you.
know?
Oh yeah,
It's
I
a
love that
twist
stuff.
on the genre.
Yeah.
But that's the DC slate, everybody. That's the first half. That's what he's saying they're gonna do. We got Superman, we got Batman, we got actual Robin coming in right away, which could be cool because they've always been like holding back on Robin. You got a Supergirl movie, which I think could be a lot of fun if they establish her right. Maybe that'll lead into Supergirl and Superman bleeding in. We'll see what the second half brings. I'm guessing a Justice League is down the line, but I think it's not going to be right away. I think they're going to build this world and make all these new creatures and characters. And then eventually we get into the movies and we get them all rough and into it. And then we find out who the big bad is. That's the question. Who is the big bad? Maybe the Authority is. And maybe they become a big thing that the Justice League has to come take out. Only time will tell.